The current state of eBay is very confusing, but I would say it's more of a transition. And I want to kind of talk about the current state of eBay on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And today I want to talk about something I've talked about in the past. I think maybe a year ago or so at the time. Maybe a year and a half ago, wanted to talk about the state of eBay at that particular moment as I saw it. And I thought it was pretty good time before we get into Q4 to go ahead and talk about the current state of eBay. And this is coming from my eyes, from my point of view. Of course, everyone out there has a unique point of view, but also I do take into account some of the information that you guys pass on to me through the comments and emails, and I'm so thankful for that interaction with you guys to help get a better perspective, because I think a lot of times, a lot of these channels, I'm guilty of this myself sometimes, we tend to look through things within our own lens, and we fail to realize that things that happen on eBay is much more than what's going on in our world. And I think a lot of times we tend to focus on what we see. You know, this is happening to my account, I'm not getting any sales, so therefore others must not be getting any sales. But I've tried to stay away from that lens, at least lately, the last few months, because I've been getting great sales on this platform with a very small store, and talking about higher ASP, higher sell-through rate type of items, two different things entirely, but both do play into this equation of getting better sales. But even with that said, like today, I was shut out of sales until just 10 minutes before making this video. I'm making this video on Thursday afternoon at 3:45 p.m. And I don't know how the rest of the day is going to shake out, but it's not anywhere near the almost $700 I did in sales. And we're talking about a store that's under 200 items. So for me, it's concerning that I hear a lot of people that are dealing with really next to no sales. Spoke to our buddy Mike Camparelli in New York, and he's telling me that things seem to have been pretty good until just recently, and his sales have kind of fallen off. You hear channels, certain people that are just struggling to find answers to their sales and what's going on with their sales. And I'm seeing lately inconsistencies on the account that's been really consistent for the better part of what, 7-8 months now, since February. And my first really inconsistent weekend was this last weekend, followed by some really good bounce back days. And then today it's like I've been doing a lot of listing and getting a lot of decent stuff up, but yet it's pretty much crickets. I think I sold a metal detector just a few minutes ago, and I didn't sell it for all that much. So it isn't that big of a sales day, but I'm going to keep plugging away and doing the best that I can and trying to focus on the things that I can control. Now, what we can't control is the stuff that's going on over at eBay. Now, let me just say this. I am encouraged right now, and more encouraged than I was yesterday, based on a couple factors, or this main factor, and that is other channels like Josh Galt. Check him out. He's a growing channel. He has a live every day and talking about issues that are important for resellers. Check out his channel. But him and Kevin Commonwealth Picker have been in contact with eBay. Now I think Josh is possibly going to have a meeting with eBay very soon. They've signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, so I'm not sure how much information he's going to be able to discuss with us. And apparently Kevin Commonwealth Picker has also been in contact with a VP, Vice President of Operations of the company, and I believe he's already been in contact with them, and of course that involves signing an NDA, and I don't know how much information he's going to be able to share with us. But I'm a fairly decent reader when it comes to seeing somebody's demeanor and just having a feel for a vibe. And I'm getting some positive vibes from Kevin's recent video where he kind of discusses some of the things that he has talked about with the VP, and it feels, just based on his video, that there's some good news coming, I guess. But all the while, a lot of us are struggling. And I mean, my second account really sucks, and it's a lot of the crap you guys know. You guys know my story. Hopefully you know my story, and if not, check out my videos or continue to watch the channel, and especially the lives. We like to talk about both of my accounts and just the general atmosphere of eBay. But let me just say that I'm encouraged that eBay has bothered to reach out to someone in the community, and that's both Josh and Kevin, and that's good news, because it tells me that they are at least making an effort. Okay, it could be one of those things where they just fail. Just, you know, here's our plans. Well, we're keeping that close to the vest here, but here's our plans, and we're going to stick to them. We don't care about seller feedback, and you know, either deal with it or go away. That could be their mindset. But the fact that they're reaching out to other channels is a good thing. And let me just say this real quick. eBay, if you're watching this channel, let me just say this for a second. I know that I've been very critical of your operation. I've been very critical of the things that you have put sellers through. And it's only because I'm not trying to make, you know, create bonus points with anyone. I'm not trying to piss you off either. At the same time, I am just being honest to the people who watch this channel and to give honest feedback from my perspective. And I want 100% to see eBay succeed. I am 100% grateful and thankful for the platform and the opportunity and even all the fees that I've paid you guys to present the traffic. You've provided that traffic to allow me to have pretty darn good sales this year, and for that I'm grateful. And I want nothing more than to see eBay succeed and to blossom into what it was, instead of sort of reverting into what it's not. And I would hate more than anything to see eBay become a Mercari, or, you know, heaven forbid, a Bonanza, because you failed to listen to the sellers and adapt as you're asking us to adapt. And I'm really encouraged that you're listening, at least listening to some folks in this community. So that's a good start. And you know, if you guys are able to reach out, I'll be willing to sign any number of NDAs to at least pass on the feedback and have a constructive conversation. But I have my doubts that'll ever happen. And with that said, I think eBay is going through a lot of transformation. They're making a lot of changes on the back end, and it's causing things to change. Things that used to sell aren't selling as they used to. And is it the fact that they're trying to squeeze out the smaller seller? Is it that they're pushing the larger sellers up and the smaller sellers out? I don't know. Is it that maybe they're trying to focus on items that have more demand? If you're selling higher demand items, you're going to get more exposure and more success, and they're pushing out the folks that are still trying to sell lower priced, lower demand type items, and giving them less exposure. And that's kind of what it seems like. But you also have an issue where there's a problem with the search. So if you're doing a word for word verbatim search for your title on one of your items, let's say, some people are reporting, and I haven't seen this myself, but some people are reporting that they're not seeing their item come up whatsoever in search. And that's concerning, guys. If you're getting blocked from your items being shown at all, well, what kind of sales do you expect to get? And I think that eBay is trying to implement AI more than they have before, and I think there's problems that they're coming across. And of course, as I've mentioned before, We are beta testers. Okay, this stuff isn't being tested, at least that I know of. And if it is, that's even worse. This stuff isn't being tested off-site. So, you know, they're making changes, maybe seeing how things are before they introduce the changes into what we use every day. It definitely feels like we're beta testers. And of course, eBay is reliant on us to report these problems to them. For me, I don't think it should ever be that way, but that's just the way it is. And we have to adapt. You know, if we see things that are happening, if we see things that used to sell but aren't selling anymore, we need to maybe look into gravitating away and finding things that do. I know it's kind of tough to, you know, have this inventory that we're sitting on. Maybe you're sitting on thousands of items. Maybe it's time to open a second store. Maybe keep your lower performing items on one store or move it over to another one, and your existing store or your new store, whatever you decide to do, start putting different stuff on that store. And I say that mainly to those who really rely on eBay for their current income. If you're doing this part-time and you already have a full-time job, and yeah, this is nice to have kind of money, then don't make the big changes. Just ride out the storm and just continue doing what you're doing. Everyone's situation is a little bit differently. I am not in a panic mode right now. I didn't have a very good day in sales, but I'm not going to panic. I'm going to continue to listen, watch what other creators are talking about, what other channels are talking about. I think that's a good way to get information. And I'm going to pay attention, try to see what's going on and stay in front of these problems that we're seeing. But again, you or I do not have any control over the things that are preventing your sales from happening. As long as you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Do you have a good account health? Are your listings good quality? Are your titles good? I think that's very important, especially with this search thing going on. It's more important than ever to have very good relevant titles. Are your prices good? So that maybe if they're not popping up in best match, maybe they're popping up in price plus shipping, lowest price plus shipping search, and you can take advantage of that. But I think for almost every reseller out there, there is an answer to what you're currently going through right now on the platform. And it's nothing more, in my opinion, than eBay is transitioning. And I don't know exactly what they're transitioning into. I don't know exactly what their plan is. And the big problem, the big picture problem here is the fact that they continue to they fail to communicate with us. Now, again, the idea that they're reaching out to certain content creators like Josh and Kevin, it's a good sign that they're trying to communicate on some level, albeit they are not allowing them to talk about it by signing an NDA. I think it's at least a start. Okay, and then we can get a read on them, even though they're not going to be able to tell us a whole lot about what's going on. You know, Kevin came out with the video today, but he can't really tell us anything because he signed an agreement. So we can kind of get maybe some vibes from what they're saying in their videos. Maybe they can blink twice if things are looking good, and maybe once if the information they gave them was bad. Maybe that's a little hint. Throw us a bone, guys, and let us know what kind of news that you know, they're sharing with you without telling us what they're sharing with you. I think most people want to know. But in the meantime, guys, you gotta have to ride the storm. I mean, what's the alternative? Yes, move your stuff over to other platforms. That's what's currently happening. A lot of people are taking advantage of these listing programs and getting their stuff onto Poshmark and Mercari. I think that's essential if you're struggling with your sales. Don't leave altogether, though. That's my message to you guys. Do not leave eBay right now. And I know you might be struggling with sales, and you might come back and say, well, why? Why not leave? If I'm getting sales on Mercari but not on eBay, what's the point? And the point is that there's still traffic. It's still more traffic on this platform than those other sites, even with the problems. And eBay is still a viable place to sell, but you gotta you got to be willing to transition yourself. You got to be willing to be flexible to make changes. And that's the biggest message I have. Right now it's uncertain. I don't know if eBay is going to come out and give us the information. I mean, they're giving information to some people but not others. But I don't know if they're going to come out and finally say, look, we've heard you, here are the problems we're dealing with, and here's what we're going to do about it. That's all I want. And then it'll be a lot easier for us to know, okay, fine, you're pushing out this type, you don't want us to sell this type of thing anymore, and you're telling us that, so now we have that information instead of we're guessing, right? Because that's all we're doing when you watch these videos. We're trying to find information, but a lot of these creators like myself, we don't have concrete information. The ones that do can't talk about it. So all we're doing is we're guessing along with you, but the only difference is we have the channel and you don't. You're watching and you're forming your own opinion based on your experiences and what we're up here talking about. So I don't have the answers. eBay's not talking to me. I don't know if they ever will, and they're welcome to, and I'll have a conversation with them if they do, but I doubt they actually will ever reach out. But even then, I won't be able to talk about it. And what we need is someone from eBay to come out and say, look, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we expect from the sellers out there, and the stuff like this is maybe not as hot, or will not show up in search as often as this type of thing, okay? And I have a suspicion that a lot of the problems that we're seeing is based on category. It's sort of a categorical problem that we're dealing with. So some categories are experiencing it worse than others. And when I say experiencing it, I'm saying a slowdown, a lack of items showing up in search, a reduction of page views, a reduction of impressions, and things of that nature. So how reliable is the traffic data? How reliable is the data that we have that eBay provides us within our own accounts? I don't even know that. I'm not sure I trust it a lot myself, but what else do we have to look at? And so hopefully we can find some information out here very soon, and hopefully you guys can weather the storm. I'm going to do my best to weather the storm and to get through this, and I'm hopeful that most of you guys can stick in there, stand in there, weather the storm, get through it, do the best you can to make adjustments, and we can all get through this together. And hopefully there's a light at the end of the rainbow, or gold at the end of the rainbow, or light at the end of the tunnel, whatever you want to say. And I'm going to do a live stream later today at 3 p.m. Jenna's going to be there, and I kind of want to touch on eBay's future. What is eBay going to look like 5-10 years from now? And again, all we can do is guess, because eBay's not telling us any of that. I'm sure a lot of it's proprietary, and I can understand that, but it seems like a fun conversation to maybe kind of talk about. So join me at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time on the Flippin' Ain't Easy channel, and we'll all have hopefully a spirited and productive conversation. But you know, trying to figure out what's happening with eBay now, heaven forbid what's going to happen with eBay 5 to 10 years from now, is yet another example of how, at least on this platform, how flippin' ain't easy. And I want you guys to check out one of these videos here, and until we talk again, hopefully on the live stream, have a great rest of your day.